you sit on the Sri Krishna Committee as well, and we're awaiting recommendations of the Sri Krishna Committee. The world is moving towards, or the EU is moving towards a very, very strict and tight regime from the 25th of May with massive penalties. Even in the white paper, in the Sri Krishna Committee white paper, they talk about the fact that the Aadhaar Act will need to be tweaked and will need to be synchronized with a privacy and a data protection law. Given that, do you believe that the Aadhaar Act in itself today is too open-ended? Because that's been an observation of the court.
While making this Aadhaar Act, the government stand in the parliament was that the government, so far as the Aadhaar is concerned, the government considers the privacy of people as a fundamental right, and this Aadhaar Act actually protects, enforces this. Now let me give you an example. Now, there are no contemporary examples in the other legislation at this moment, and that is what in the Sri Krishna Committee we are looking at this. Now, in case of an Aadhaar, first of all, Aadhaar is based on a minimal data. When we enroll somebody for Aadhaar, we take in minimal data. You may recall that when you went for Aadhaar, we did not ask for even your mother's name, not even your father's name, not your caste, not your religion, not your whole family details, not your income, not your profession. What did we ask? Only your name, address, gender, date of birth, 10 fingerprint, iris, that's all.
Fair point, but isn't the court's observation that you could ask for other kinds of details? In fact, wasn't the observation made that you could perhaps ask even for DNA profile, for instance? This was an observation in court.
To that, our Attorney General has apprised the court, and these things are being argued in the court. So what our stand is, that if you see Section 2 of Aadhaar Act says that the biometrics, like fingerprint, iris and photograph, and such other biometrics as may be prescribed by the regulation. So what the legislature has said, such other means such other which is as less intrusive as a fingerprint, photo of the fingerprint and photo of the iris. But definitely this Section 2G, this is the stand of the government, that in this current form, it does not allow the government. And in fact, we ourselves, we admit in the court that in this, as long as this wording is there, and that is why we put this wording there, that any biometric that we choose in future has to be as less intrusive as this fingerprint and iris.
Let me also ask you about what Justice Chandrachud raised, and that was the pizza analogy that Justice Chandrachud raised. That, for instance, if there is a insurance company and they want to monetize the data, they can sell my data to somebody else, and the cycle can continue. What checks and balances are there in place for that? The UIDAI, you virtually sort of said it has nothing to do with us.
No, actually, we have nothing to do with it. For example, let's say if a pizza company has your full name, address and mobile phone, maybe even in your credit card details, right? There is no law which requires a pizza company to ask for your Aadhaar number. If anyone asks your Aadhaar number, you can refuse to provide Aadhaar number, number one. So this whole issue that, the pizza company will be able to know many other information, that is related to a general data protection law, because pizza company might contact your health provider, for example, might get some information from the bank, using maybe the existing provisions or maybe even going beyond the existing provisions, right? And might be able to aggregate some data about you, and that is what the people are concerned. We are also concerned in the Justice Sri Krishna Committee, and that is why we are moving to a regime where such kind of a intermingling of data between the various agencies are prohibited. Right, and without consent, it can't be done. But so far as Aadhaar is concerned, Aadhaar doesn't come anywhere in the picture, because what Aadhaar has, first let me clarify to you, that somehow the people have impression that, just because that, Aadhaar is being linked at various places, Aadhaar knows that, which bank account you have, how much money you have. In PAN card, if Aadhaar is linked to the PAN card, then UIDAI will know that how many returns you are filing, what is your total income. If Aadhaar is linked to, let us say, your property registration, then
are you
the
playing Big Brother or not? That's the question. That is the concern that people have, that we're moving towards a surveillance state, and you're going to be playing Big Brother.
No, I would say that that's what I was trying to explain. That the UIDAI does not have any information about your transaction. Number one. Not only that, under the Aadhaar law, we are prohibited from collecting any your transaction details and any purpose for which you have done the authentication. If ever UIDAI does it or any government does it, it is a criminal offence, and that is equally applicable to everyone who is working inside the government or the UIDAI. Let me give you an example. Let's say, supposing if you go to a bank and link your bank account number with Aadhaar, what the bank sends to the UIDAI, only your Aadhaar number and the fingerprint. And UIDAI responds in a manner yes and no. UIDAI does not know that you have gone to the bank and whether you are going to the bank for opening a bank account or withdrawal or deposit or for whatever purpose. And this is also a one-time activity. It's not that once you have linked your bank account with Aadhaar, every time you do some transaction in the bank, UIDAI gets a signal. That is also prohibited. So what I'm saying is, it's not that I'm saying that this is what the UIDAI is doing. If you see the Section 29 of the Aadhaar Act, if you see Section 30 of the Aadhaar Act, these sections specifically prohibit any usage of any collection of data which is beyond the matching. So UIDAI is simply a matching service. It matches your Aadhaar number with the fingerprint. So therefore, any apprehension that UIDAI ever will become a big brother, because what we did was that when we were designing this program in 2010, that time, naturally, every agency, whether it is a government or private, is, data hungry. That, if you are asking, if a person has come to you, you would like to get all kinds of data. But we decided that we will follow the principle of optimal ignorance. That, if the person has come, instead of getting the whole information about him.
Is one of the pillars of the EU legislation as well.
That's correct. And if you see right from the very beginning, in our design document, including our affidavit in the Supreme Court, we have said that this is our optimal ignorance principle, and also that it doesn't remain only on the paper. We have also put the provision in the law itself. And any violation of this optimal ignorance principle, it is a serious criminal offense.
Since we're talking about violations, and I think this is a general criticism that is coming your way, that while you acknowledge the fact that there has been breaches at the end of whether it's the grievance redressal mechanism or so on and so forth, the UIDAI database has never been breached, the biometrics have never been breached. Now, you're also aware of the fact that there are several people on Twitter, in public, on social media who have pointed out to bugs within the system, within the architecture. The view is that instead of being dismissive, why do you not adopt a much more collaborative approach? Why can't you, for instance, have bug bounty rewards? Why can't you create that ecosystem? Why are you always on the defensive, and why are you always, sort of suggesting that there is absolutely no possibility? In court, you said that no system is 100% robust. Then why do you take a different attitude and a different approach when people question you about the possibility of a breach?
Because you raised this matter about the court. In court, I mentioned two things. I said that, look, no system in the world, leave alone, Aadhaar system, can ever claim that it was 100% foolproof or security proof.
Sure.
Because what you consider today security proof, maybe after 1 hour, it may not be, or maybe after 2 days, 5 days, 10 days, 3 months. So this security challenge is a constantly evolving scenario, where, the people, who attack a security system, including Aadhaar, they are upgrading their technology. So we also have to, remain one step ahead of them. And that is exactly what we are doing. I mean, it's not that, our security systems are same as it was in 2010 when we designed it. On a day-to-day basis, we are upgrading our security system. And for that, whatever input is required, because, it is a security matter, so we don't exactly discuss in public that what steps we are taking. Because, and that is the reason, so we have a very, very robust system of getting a feedback and getting an input from the various sources that where is the threat emerging.
But supposing, you know who I'm talking about. I mean, there are people, Elliot and Anderson and all of these people on Twitter who are pointing out issues with Aadhaar. Have you spoken with them? Have you contacted them? Has there been any conversation with people who have publicly pointed these things out?
See, what we do is that we have a very robust system where we take cognizance of anything that is appearing in media, social media and elsewhere, including there are many things which are not appearing in the social media, right? And then we take proactive action, and not only to protect the whole system only as on today, but also we have to be very, very aware that what is going to happen after 2 years, because let us say certain technologies are getting developed.
Yeah.
And which will make life very difficult for us after 2 years. Now, if I have to make a change, unless and until I initiate those changes, because those changes can't be done, implemented overnight, because any change in such a large technological system will require months of preparation and to do that. So I have to initiate those steps. So many of these things, unfortunately, it is a security matter, and I'm pretty sure that not only in the cyber security, even let's say any country's security, for example, if you ask any national security, forget about India or any other country, that what steps they are taking. They will be taking all these steps, but only thing is that they will not be willing to discuss those security the measures and which they are taking.
So there is merit in the criticism that has come your way? There is merit in the loopholes and the bugs that have been pointed out?
No, I wouldn't say that there is a merit, if whatever the loophole and the bugs which are being pointed out, many of them are valid. Many of them, may raise certain, perception that, the people are having this kind of a perception. So we take that as a feedback, because in many cases, for example, some people say that, like for example, one example that you said about the duplicate Aadhaar card. Now, when we heard that news, we said that, look, it is neither a security threat or it is not a question of, some duplicate Aadhaar being generated. But it is a concern, so the people have to be made aware that these are not the duplicate cards issued by Aadhaar, but these are the Photoshop Aadhaar cards. So then we had to tell people that if supposing somebody gives you an Aadhaar card, don't take this as a face value. You just scan the QR code. Or you can go online.
So will the QR code now do away with the vanilla biometrics? I mean, what is the plan as far as that is concerned?
No, see, the QR code serves a different purpose. QR code will help you for the offline authentication. Whereas wherever the online authentication is required, for example, if you want to go and open a bank account, right? Now the bank account, the person has to take the ownership of the bank account, because otherwise, somebody else will take my Aadhaar card, a real Aadhaar card, right? Because I may be giving my real Aadhaar card. Taking that Aadhaar card, somebody will be able to open a bank account in my name without my knowledge. So in such cases, online authentication could be required, but that also will be a one-time activity, not that, every time do a banking transaction.
Okay. Let me ask you this then. When can we expect the recommendations of the Sri Krishna report to be finalized and put forward? And do you believe that within this calendar year, we could see the law being passed, or do you think that it is now only possible in the tenure of the next government?
Now, see, the Justice Sri Krishna report, we had a stakeholder consultations across the country, and where we have received a very good and large number of feedbacks. Now, they all are being deliberated, and based on that, a draft legislation will be prepared, and then the draft report will be submitted to the the government by the Justice Sri Krishna Committee, and we hope to do sometime in the month of May. It's not very far away, right? And then, because the government has appointed the Justice Sri Krishna Committee, then naturally the government will have to take a proper view of.
So, will the Aadhaar Act need to be amended in light of the recommendations of the Sri Krishna Committee? You're a member of that committee,
exactly,
so you know what you're deliberating on.
As I have already said, that there is always a scope for improvement, because
so there will be need for improvement.
I mean, wherever the Justice Sri Krishna Committee feels that there is some more strengthening is required, definitely we'll take that in a very positive manner, and we will do that. But that does not mean that the entire Aadhaar Act itself, because let us wait for the Justice Sri Krishna's committee, and so just because there are certain improvements, for example, some improvements will be suggested maybe in the IT Act, right? But that doesn't mean that today this IT Act is invalid, because till that, you know, so this need for improvement doesn't invalidate the present.